meskipun penerbangan ke Bali disyaratkan PCR, mobilitas tetap meningkat dan pada akhirnya mendorong kenaikan kasus. Walaupun tanpa varian Delta, dapat kami sampaikan bahwa mobilitas di Bali saat ini sudah sama dengan Natal Tahun Baru yang lalu dan akan terus meningkat sampai akhir tahun ini, sehingga meningkatkan risiko kenaikan kasus. Mengenai hal ini, arahan Presiden agar harga PCR dapat diturunkan menjadi 300.000 dan berlaku selama 3 kali 24 jam untuk perjalanan pesawat.
Luhut again explained the reason for the mandatory use of the PCR test for prospective airplane transportation passengers, namely to balance the relaxation carried out on community activities, especially in the tourism sector. Although COVID-19 cases nationally are currently declining, the government is learning from the experiences of other countries to continue to strengthen 3T, testing, tracing, treatment, and 3M, so that cases do not increase again, especially during the Christmas and New Year holiday periods. Luhut revealed that currently there is high mobility in Bali. In fact, the conditions are the same as in 2020. IDX Channel reports. The Jabodebek LR3 train series collided in the Cibubur area East Jakarta on Monday. The accident occurred while testing was being carried out. The accident occurred at 1 p.m. on the Harjamukti Station, Ciracas Station Road, which involved 2 train sets, namely train set number 29 and train set number 20. Regarding the incident, INCA President Director Budi Novianto conveyed his apologies to those involved in the Jabodebek LRT construction project. Regarding the accident, he explained the collision occurred because train set 29 was traveling at a speed above the standard when it was being shunted or moved to another lane, so that it hit train set number 20, which was stationary or parked. Therefore, it is indicated that there was a human error in the accident. However, the exact cause of the accident will still be investigated by the National Transportation Safety Committee.
Pada saat transit 29 dari Ciracas itu mau bergabung ke arah Harjamukti, terjadi tumburan. Ya, ini terindikasi ya. Nanti KNKT yang menentukan. Terindikasi adalah langsiran yang terlalu cepat. Ya, masinisnya alhamdulillah tidak apa-apa, ya luka ringan dan sekali rumah sakit masih sadar, sehingga langkah selanjutnya nanti akan tim dari KNKT akan datang proses untuk investigasi. Saya atas nama Dirut dan Direksi PT Inka memohon maaf kepada semua pihak, ya, kepada Pak Menteri Perhubungan, Menteri BUMN, ya, yang terkait juga Menteri Menko Marves, khususnya yang membantu Inka yang luar biasa, dan yang lain-lain yang terkait dengan itu, KAI, juga dengan Tatib LRT Jabodebek, dan juga teman-teman yang lain. Itu aja, jadi ini informasi awal, nanti akan kami laporkan updating melalui Humas.
The government plans to increase the excise rate on tobacco products or cigarette excise in 2022. The government argues that the increase in cigarette excise rates to control cigarette consumption in the country.
The government plans to increase the excise rate on tobacco products or cigarette excise in 2022. The government argues that the increase in excise rates is done to control cigarette consumption in the country. Director General of Customs and Excise at the Ministry of Finance, Askolani, said the government was still reviewing several aspects that become the basis for setting excise rates for tobacco products next year. The target is that the study will be completed this month so that the excise tariff on tobacco products for 2022 can be accommodated through a Minister of Finance regulation.
Untuk cukai rokok, saat ini masih kita review internal pemerintah, dan mudah-mudahan insya Allah bulan ini kita bisa selesaikan setelah ditetapkan oleh pimpinan dengan kebijakan yang tentunya sejalan dengan kebijakan yang akan kita laksanakan di 2022. Dan ini juga sejalan dengan pembahasan kita dalam Undang-Undang APBN 2022 yang telah ditetapkan bersama DPR. Itu satu.
Askolani said the study was carried out in accordance with policies that will be implemented in 2022. This is in line with the discussions in the 2022 State Budget Law. The target for excise tax revenues in 2022 State Budget Law is 203.92 trillion rupiah. The target is an increase of around 13.2% compared to this year's target of 180 trillion rupiah. IDX Channel reports.
We're moving on to global updates. Saudi Arabia announced a fund to invest in carbon capture technology. Meanwhile, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan backed down from its threat to expel 10 Western ambassadors. More stories on today's International Minute.
Saudi Arabia said Middle Eastern economies will be boosted by efforts to cut planet-warming gases and announced a fund to invest in carbon capture technology. The kingdom will establish a fund to improve carbon sequestration and back a plan to feed hundreds of millions of people by providing them clean cooking fuels, Prince Mohammed said. The two initiatives will cost 39 billion riyals or $10.4 billion, and Saudi Arabia will contribute 15%. The government will also open regional center for early warning of storms, for sustainable fishing, and for cloud seeding. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Monday backed down from his threat to expel 10 Western ambassadors over their joint statement of support for a jailed civil society leader. Erdogan said during the weekend he had ordered the envoys to be declared persona non grata for seeking the release of prominent philanthropist Osman Kavala, 64, detained for 4 years on charge of financing protests and involvement in an attempted coup. One of the world's most criticized polluters, Australia, has promised it will achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050. PM Scott Morrison made the long-delayed pledge after bargaining with resistant MPs within his government. He said Australia had a plan to lower emissions, but it would not include ending its massive fossil fuel sectors. The nation will also not to set ambitious targets for 2030, an objective of next month's COP26 Global Climate Summit. To halt the worst effects of climate change, nations have pledged to limit rising temperatures by 1.5 Celsius by 2050. China's President Xi Jinping marked the country's 50 years of membership in the UN with a speech calling for greater global cooperation. Xi addressed the conference via video link, calling for global cooperation on issues like terrorism and cybersecurity. He did not mention Taiwan. For additional information, China was a founding member of the UN as the Republic of China before the government was ousted by the Chinese Communist Party. IDX Channel reports.
Market headlines will be right back after this quick break. Stay tuned with us.
Awalnya nggak langsung yakin, tapi setelah ikut 2 kali acara edukasi Bursa Efek, akhirnya tertarik juga.
Karena mudah, saya ajarkan ibu-ibu lain, sampai anak saya juga ikutan.
Selesai dagang, saya bawa 100.000 untuk nabung saham. Hasilnya jelas sekali.
Yuk kita nabung saham sekarang.
Datu membawakan program berita News Screen yang menghadirkan informasi seputar ekonomi maupun juga bisnis dari dalam negeri.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. The Ministry of Trade recorded as many as 7,368 consumer complaints from the electronic commerce sector from January to September 2021.
The Ministry of Trade recorded as many as 7,368 consumer complaints for the electronic commerce sector from January to September 2021. The complaints were dominated by parameters of how to sell that did not follow consumer protection rules. Director General of Consumer Protection and Trade Order Ferry Angriono said, in order to protect consumers, the rule of law will be strictly enforced. Ferry stated that the Ministry of Trade is committed to protecting consumers through consistent monitoring efforts, handling complaints that harm consumers, as well as implementing regulation to balance the interests of consumers and business actors. Ferry said that conventional trading transactions began to shift to digital transaction formats. As many as 88.1% of internet users in Indonesia use electronic commerce services. In 2020, there was an increase in the normal value of electronic commerce transactions by 29.6%, or to 266.3 trillion rupiah from 205.5 trillion rupiah in 2019. The high utilizations of electronic commerce has a positive impact as well as risking consumer losses. Meanwhile, consumer protection activist Indah Sukmaningsi said that being a consumer is not enough to be critical without taking action. She said caring for the other people is the hallmark of future consumers. IDX Channel reports.
President Joko Widodo invites ASEAN countries to take a cue from Indonesia that has made the most of the pandemic situation to conduct structural reforms to boost the region's economic growth. President Jokowi made the statement during his speech at the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit. The head of state noted that hustle and bustle in tackling the COVID-19 pandemic did not dampen Indonesia's intentions to conduct structural reforms. President Jokowi emphasized that as a unitary economic community, ASEAN is a region that must take lessons from the crisis and make fundamental self-improvements at the regional level.
Dalam menghadapi pandemi sekarang ini, kita tidak hanya ingin pulih kembali, tetapi kita ingin mencuri kesempatan dalam pandemi untuk melakukan reformasi struktural untuk pertumbuhan ekonomi yang inklusif dan berkelanjutan di kawasan ASEAN. Peluang ini sangat besar untuk bisa kita lakukan. Sebagaimana yang kami lakukan di Indonesia, kami ingin terus melanjutkan reformasi struktural ini untuk merespon catatan-catatan kelemahan kelembagaan dan cara kerja kami ketika diuji oleh pandemi COVID-19. Ujian berat berupa pandemi justru kami manfaatkan untuk memperkuat diri dalam menghadapi tantangan masa depan.
Minister of Foreign Affairs Retno Marsudi said that President Joko Widodo is scheduled to attend and participate in a number of high-level activities that will be held in the coming days. The series of meetings will begin with the 38th and 39th Asian Summits, which will be held on 26 to 28 October 2021. After that, the President is scheduled to go to Rome, Italy to attend the G20 Summit, which will be held on October 31, 2021. The G20 Summit is considered very important for Indonesia, which will receive the chairmanship of the G20 from Italy. At the G20 Summit, Retno explained President Jokowi would present his views on three main agendas, namely the global economy and health, climate change and the environment, and sustainable development. The next summit that will be attended by heads of state is the Climate Change Summit, or COP26, World Leaders Summit, which will be held on 1 to 2 November 2021 in Glasgow.
Mendampingi Bapak Presiden menghadiri dua KTT ASEAN secara back to back, yaitu KTT ke-38 ASEAN dan KTT ke-39 ASEAN, serta akan dilanjutkan dengan KTT-KTT terkait lainnya. Keseluruhan KTT yang akan diselenggarakan sampai tanggal 28 Oktober akan dilakukan secara virtual di bawah keketuaan Brunei Darussalam. Pada hari ini juga teman-teman, Presiden akan menghadiri 3 pertemuan lainnya, yaitu KTT ASEAN Korea Selatan, KTT ASEAN Tiongkok, dan KTT ASEAN Amerika.
Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs revealed that Indonesia and Malaysia have agreed to intensify bilateral cooperation in the palm oil industry and to counter the negative campaign on palm oil. Indonesia and Malaysia have agreed to intensify bilateral cooperation in the palm oil industry and to counter the negative campaign on palm oil. Coordinating Minister for Economic Affairs Erlangga Hartarto stated that as palm oil producers, Indonesia and Malaysia need to counter it by launching an effective and efficient positive campaign that is right on target. According to Hartarto, Indonesia lauded the progress in the countering anti-palm oil campaign launched by the Council of Palm Oil Producing Countries. The program has included the advocacy program in the European Union, positive campaign through social media channels in all EU member countries, and developing communication and promotion strategy in palm oil consumer countries. Indonesia has lauded the establishment of the CPOPC Scientific Committee that focuses on research and development activities to enrich public knowledge on the palm oil commodity. Palm oil producing countries should take precautionary measures against fluctuations in crude palm oil prices by stepping up domestic consumption, including the mandatory mixed biodiesel B30 program in Indonesia and B20 in Malaysia. IDX Channel reports. And stay with us because market headlines will be back after this quick break with information from the capital market.
Seiring meluasnya cakrawala investasi di tengah pasar saham yang dinamis. Analisa mendalam diperlukan untuk menemukan saham berorientasi value yang menghasilkan kinerja yang tinggi. IDX Channel akan mengulas isu pasar dan pergerakan saham terkini. Saksikan ulasannya bersama analis terpercaya hanya di IDX Channel.
Ya halo pemirsa, nama saya Mangivera Tjong. Saat ini saya menjabat sebagai presenter dan juga associate producer. Saat ini saya membawakan program IDX Conversation Closing, di mana di program tersebut saya menganalisa isu-isu ekonomi yang menarik, baik dari luar negeri maupun juga dari dalam negeri. Tentunya hingga saat ini saya masih terus belajar dan saya sangat menikmati profesi tersebut.
Apa yang harus diperhatikan utamanya gitu ya ketika ingin membuat sebuah perusahaan?
Pertama, aku cari partner yang tepat, mentor yang tepat, dan yang ketiga adalah butuh network.
Welcome back on Market Headlines. At the Jakarta Composite Index intraday movement, earlier today, JCI was open at the level of 6,674.06 and then approaching the closing time on the first session, The index was on the level of 6,663.73. Then the index was showing strengthening trend by the second session closing time. Index was closed at the level of 6,656.93. And in short, Jakarta Composite Index went up 0.47%. And next, we're going to see the sectoral movement. Leading the dynamics of today's trading, we got health as the leader of strengthening trend, went up 2.69%. Energy sector went up 1.72%. Basic sector went down 0.4%. And technology went down 0.25%. And we're moving on to top gainers and top losers. Here are the key highlights from today's trading session. Arto went up 1.68% to the level of 15,175 rupiah. Bank Rakyat Indonesia went up 1.16% to the level of 4,350 rupiah per share. Pigas went up 2.31% to the level of 1,550 rupiah per share. And Agro went up 6.5% to the level of 2,130 rupiah per share. And meantime, the top losers for today's trading, we got BBYB, went down 0.67% to the level of 1,480 rupiah. Bukalapak went down 5.44% to the level of 695 rupiah per share. Semen Indonesia went down 2.33% to the level of 8,375 rupiah per share. Aneka Tambang went down 0.83% to the level of 2,400 rupiah per share. And let's see the movement rupiah towards US dollar. Open at the level of 14,158. Rupiah showing strengthening trend towards US dollar and was closed at the level of 14,141. And in summary, rupiah went up 0.54%. Due to its higher business valuation potential, Telkom Indonesia plans to merge its data center business subsidiaries.
Telkom Indonesia plans to merge 3 data center business subsidiaries. So far, the data center business is being worked on by Telekomunikasi Indonesia International or Telin, PT Telkom Sigma, and Telkom Data Center. Telkom's Vice President of Investor Relations, Andi Setiawan, said the company is currently in the process of deepening or studying to consolidate the data center business. After the consolidation, this business will be managed by one entity within the Telkom Group. Andi observed that the data center business has a higher valuation potential than the telecommunication business. This business provides a higher value for the Telkom Group as a whole if value unlocking is carried out. Therefore, in the process of doing value unlocking, the data center business needs to be consolidated first. Andi emphasized that until now, the process of merging the data center business is still in the company's study and planning. IDX Channel reports.
As of September 2021, Kalbe Pharma has managed to score a positive performance, which is reflected in both revenue and net profit growth. Based on the company's financial reports, until the third quarter of 2021, Kalbe achieved net sales of 19.09 trillion rupiah, an 11.7% growth from the same period in the previous year of 17.09 trillion rupiah. In detail, sales of prescription drugs contributed 4.19 trillion rupiah. Then sales of health products amounted to 2.92 trillion. Income from sales of nutrition was 5.17 trillion, and income from distribution and logistics was 6.81 trillion. Kalbe Pharma posted a gross profit of 8.28 trillion or 6.56%, higher than the same period in the previous year of 7.77 trillion rupiah. At the same time, selling expenses were recorded at 4.16 trillion, an increase of 4.26% year-on-year from the last year. And viewers, step aside from market condition as the efforts in achieving herd immunity is still going on. Here is an update data about COVID-19 vaccinations in Indonesia. And viewers, the news close our market headlines today. Please enjoy our next program on IDX Channel, your trustworthy economic, business, and capital market channel. And to prevent the spread of COVID-19, always wear a mask and get vaccinated immediately. Masks have been shown to reduce the risk of transmission by 80%, while vaccines minimize the risk of death by 73%. So let's wear a mask and get vaccinated, because masks and vaccines keep us healthy and happy. And I'm Fajar Wayong. Have a nice evening and stay safe.